Too fancy. Scared of us, aren't you? I can tell. Probably the very good reason. Heavy. That's yours. My house. Yeah. Alice is here. Yeah. She's showing us her beautiful porch. Yeah, that's her porch.
My nearsighted eyes see.
Okay, it's 9:30 something. And I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. There's Alice.
Back again.
So we've been admiring your view behind you. So I think she's
I'm on my porch.
okay. Let's get our brains organized with a quick moment of silence, please. Okey doke. Our first order of business is going to be the adoption of the agenda. I sent out a final agenda yesterday. And there are a couple question marks I have that happened last night. So when we get to those, I'll address them. Part of it is just our setting of dates and special meetings, et cetera. Does anyone have anything else that needs to be addressed on the agenda or changed? Okay, then I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okey doke. The next order of business is approval of minutes, and I know Brad has had trouble with those, so we will do those in September. We'll approve both July and August in September.
And my apologies to the group. I just wanted to hand another.
Welcome to August in Montreat. Okay, we have no members of the public present at the moment. If someone comes in, I'll insert comments. Our next order of business are reports. Daniel is reporting for the Public Works Department. So I'll let him have the floor or the mic or whatever.
As far as I know, Barry did not give me anything to report today, so we're good.
Thanks. Alex, do you have anything?
Nothing other than to thank this board for your work, to thank Brad for doing those minutes, because that's a big job. And I appreciate that always.
I don't have anything to add as an administrator this morning.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, as usual, I'm not going to say no report. As you know, we had to cancel our Ivy League outing last week. We had 8 inches plus at our house in 12 hours. So I'm very glad we were all inside. So you'll see under new business, we'll set a date for September. I want to thank our public works guys also for all the work they did last week, because it was needed, but not on the agenda.
Amen.
Yeah, and hopefully we haven't lost too many trees with all the wet soil. And I also want to thank the town for getting our Tree City USA flag flying underneath our national flag. Yay! I still hope for a flag for every household, but we'll see what they decide to do. And for those of you who have not seen it, I did bring my copy of last week's Black Mountain News. It talks about voting to designate September 4 as the Arbor Day. I had a real good conversation with Ezra and have tried to share this with everybody. And that'll definitely go in the files.
And
Yes, ma'am.
may I say something? Ezra was at the town council meeting 10 days ago, 12 days ago. And so thank you for giving us a heads up on that. I went and spoke with him, introduced myself, and said, I'm delighted that you're coming to our September 4th Tree City and Arbor Day celebration. And the mayor also recognized Ezra and called him out by name. And we just are very happy to have him now in our community. And thanks to you for giving me a heads up on that. And I think lots of dots were connected at our last town council meeting.
Great. Yeah, he's seems very eager to include more than just Black Mountain in the Black Mountain News. Okay, new business. Our first order of business is set a COVID hurricane date. Alex and I talked about it. It's October the 9th, which is the Saturday of Columbus Day weekend, assuming it's still called Columbus Day. I also sent everyone a copy. I forwarded an email I received from Samantha Bowers late yesterday afternoon. Judy, whose last name I can never pronounce, and Tamarin had hoped to be at the meeting today, but apparently she has been exposed to COVID.
Oh, wow.
The Chestnut Foundation offices are closed to the public. So there's a little more going on there than we are experiencing here. In addition, after I sent out the email, I wrote Samantha again and thanked her for the update and to keep me posted on any of the responses she got from staff. What I did not send to you all, because it was probably about 9 o'clock last night, is that so far, I think there were 6 of them who would probably be coming. So far, she has 2 definite no's. The staff members are uncomfortable in coming, and 2 maybes, suspending, depending on, as she says, the enforcement of masks and vaccinated attendees. So there's a real concern with the American Chestnut Foundation folks. I know there are small children in several of those families. So we need to address this issue. And I think it's more than just a plan B. We may have to go to plan B. So I need to hear from comments and responses from everybody here.
I have 2 questions. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
I really need for everybody to speak clearly. And Alice, I was having a little trouble understanding you.
Well, I can hear Brad just fine.
Yeah. Make sure your mic's on, please, Brad.
I believe it is. I can't tell, but I believe it is. So my questions are, one, the Chestnut Foundation concern about mask uses. Is that outdoors as well as indoors?
I suspect it is. And I had been playing with, do we ask everyone to wear a mask regardless of whether they're out or in? But that's another issue we can address in a little bit.
Yeah, we would need to talk about that. And then the other question is, since she's going to be one of our speakers.
I can't hear you, Brad.
Trying to turn my head.
Yeah.
This is
There you
like,
go.
Yeah.
so Jamie Van Cleef was going to be one of our speakers.
Mhm.
Is she one who has a definite no, or do we know?
I do not know who the no's are.
She had said to me that she's less concerned than Samantha is about things.
Yeah.
So I think not, but just trying to track things.
Yeah, I honestly do not know who the two definite no's are. I suspect Judy is going to be one of them because she's been exposed and it's about 2 weeks out. It's less than 2 weeks out. So any other comments or suggestions?
Or the question at this point is on the alternate date or the backup date? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I think it's like, do we go ahead with the 4th? And I know you had suggested possibly having the speakers come in via Zoom. I get the feeling from this email that our Chestnut Foundation friends are concerned also about coming out and exhibiting at a table and doing a display on the table. It's not just the speaking. I'm trying to leave this open to everybody else to comment.
Mhm.
Well, I think your particular communications with them, you have the feel. So I really depend on what your thoughts would be as to, I'm trying to even vision how many would come anyway. I mean, we really needed to have an attendance of the public and how comfortable they feel and who would be here if people are coming from out of town. And if you don't have the strong support of the Chestnut Foundation participation, that's really what this weekend's about.
And
Yes,
comment from, can you hear me?
yeah,
Comment from here. Thank you, Grace, for that. I think it's very wise to have a backup date. And I'm thrilled to hear that you and Alex have already talked about October 9th as a possibility. And so I think that's a great fallback position for us. I don't know what October 9th is going to bring for us. And so and thinking of Grace's comment right then, I don't know how comfortable people are being together. Again, I mean, we don't want to be facing what we're facing, but we are. And so I think that even Arbor Day celebration perhaps could be just literally the tree board, whoever else wants to come, and our Arbor Day celebration, the mayor's proclamation, walking around, looking at the 4 chestnut trees planted, or at least celebrating, at least gathering at one up by Lake Susan. And let's get this done for what we need to do, which is Arbor Day celebration. And then if there are chestnut people around, that would be wonderful. But let's get this done and off our list. And a word on my view. This is not the mountain view. What you're seeing here is the reflection in my windows of the mountains that I'm looking at. And so it's sort of amazing. If I were to face towards the mountains, the sun would be too bright. The light would be too bright. So what you see right here is a reflection in my windows. And I think, my heavens, look at those trees. Can you believe that this is Arbor Day celebration looking out our windows? Any thoughts?
Excuse me, go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
That was it. I just appreciate your comment, Grace, and I know we need to get this done for Tree City and Arbor Day celebration and the chestnut. I go check that little chestnut tree up at Welch Field. I mean, not Welch Field, up by the lake, and it is growing. The leaves are green. I just think we've got lots to celebrate with our chestnuts by walking around and reading the mayor's proclamation, which was read in full at our last town council meeting. Grace?
well, what we don't have to have a physical celebration this year for Tree City. The only thing they requested this year because of COVID was a proclamation, which we have done.
Got that?
This was going to be a little added benefit. And I know that there are organizations around the state, the urban and forestry folks are very interested. I requested some literature to have available. And she said, send us pictures. So
Okay.
we have people who are, it's not just us who are interested, but I mean, people, unfortunately, this is a reality that we were hoping we would not have to face,
Yep, yep.
but we are. And I mean, that's easy to take care of and just say, well, with COVID, we weren't able to do whatever. So it sounds, so am I correct, Alice, that you just want to do a downsize Arbor
I
Day?
would say do a downsize on September 4th, proceed with plans. Whoever comes, even if it's to walk around and look at our little chestnut trees growing, and hang on to the backup date of October 9th, which is what I understood. And if things improve radically in the next few weeks, we'll punt to October 9th if the American Chestnut Foundation folks are comfortable coming. But I think we need to just keep moving and celebrating the life that is here, which is little chestnut trees growing in our community. Thanks to all of you. That's my view. That's only one view.
Well, it's my feeling, and it's somewhat what we've talked about when we've had a native plant sale. There, if you have people coming, physically being there and having a seminar or talk, it's embarrassing. I shouldn't say embarrassing. It's unfortunate if the public is not here, if they
Yes.
make the effort to come.
Yes.
And it just doesn't, I think this location for that celebration was a superb idea, because there's the beauty of this town hall. There's a beauty around the back with the garden, of the rain gardens and the pocket park. But it's one where I feel that there can be a lot of chestnut information out or distributed through some other ways. But I feel like the relationship, and I don't know how we are related to the foundation, but the Chestnut Foundation, I think that was one of your questions, as partnerships or what, but I know we're lucky to have them close by, and they can certainly come back.
Well, they've already been invited to the plant sale in April.
Yeah, and that's really where I would center, and I would say would be talking with Jean Norris. I think that would be the biggest educational experience for the Chestnut Foundation, to be featured and centered around celebrating all trees and all shrubs and all native plants, but our chestnut, and have the thorough background of how it affected us historically, and the beautiful furniture that you still see, with the pews and the Anderson and all, et cetera. But springtime is the best time, and it might be raining, but at least from what I can understand, the COVID is looking towards spring as being more conducive to not big crowds, but crowds. I don't think it's going to get any better in October. If anything, the children are trying to get back to school, and they're getting sicker and sicker. I don't know. I'm not trying to be pessimistic about it. I hate to have 2 dates postpone and then have another postpone.
So, my thoughts here. Given that we've basically met the requirements of the Arbor Day Foundation, I mean, I think it'd still be good to do something on the 4th if we can figure out what to do. My personal focus is on building the relationship. Well, 2 things: building the relationship with American Chestnut Foundation, and building the awareness and interest in the community concerning Chestnut Project. And I've been looking towards this week, this week being the 4th, as kind of a kick out off time for them. In my own thinking, it had gotten to the point after having talked to Jamie some, I was beginning to think, well, maybe we shouldn't try to do this outing that I've been talking about on that, and maybe October sometime would be a better time to do that after we had had people here talking at the Arbor Day celebration. So, and I don't know what to do with that now, but my thinking is, can we spend some time as a group thinking about how to address the issue of engagement with the Arbor Day, with the Chestnut Foundation, and building community interest in that? You know, that might be a better question than just talking about dates. As far as October is concerned, it's fine as an alternate date, and we don't know. We've got other COVID variants coming down the pipeline that may be much worse than what we've got already. We just don't know what things are going to look like, and there is no way to know. So we just have to, err on the side of safety and be ready to be flexible. And this is one set of concerns. All week there's been other things that have been rearranging as other groups that I relate to have been changing their ideas. So again, just yes, October. If we can figure out what to do around September 4th, since that's a date we've already talked about, that would be good. But I think the bigger question is, how do we engage the community and how do we engage the foundation? So,
Maggie, did you have something you wanted to say? You look like you did earlier. That's why I was asking.
Should be.
Pull the button toward you.
Hello, is that better?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I think erring in the way of caution is the best. I think looking at the spring to figure out dates
Mhm.
makes good sense to me. Betsy, is at Asheville Middle School, and they are all very fearful of what's going to happen and not ready to make any decisions at all. And I think that's a good attitude for us at the moment. Wait and see about dates, and we'll know more in a month, but we may not know anything till spring. So I would say wait and see. But meanwhile, I think Brad's idea of making good relationships with the Chestnut Foundation is a great idea. Very important
Yeah.
for the future.
Yeah, that actually has been one of the purposes of having this event, is to get them
Yes.
involved, for us to get to know them and show them how serious we are about wanting to make sure to help them with what they are
Yes,
doing.
absolutely.
We want to assist them.
But
in
that's the kind of thing that doesn't have to have a date.
Yeah.
We can just work
Yeah.
on that, keep it in our minds and make it happen.
What we'll need to do is also, depending on what we do on the 4th, if anything, or anything on the 9th, we still need to go ahead with getting the seedlings in the ground. We may just have 8 to do. We have another one's just not looking real happy. And I know Brad and I talked about getting up with Jason Nance, with the conference center and see if they can help us find good locations, and working with Daniel and Barry and even Josh Holbrook. I think he is interested in making either planting or monitoring chestnut a student project for his one of his classes. So I think we need to be able to proceed with that. And I also think let's feel out and check. I would like to be able to go ahead and do a tour. I think that'd be super, depending on how comfortable Jamie is in the just checking to see. Not necessarily in September, but probably October, which we had talked about anyway as a backup date or an additional date. There are some things I think we can continue with.
So define tour a little bit. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
when we
what
say
is-
tour?
What?
A tour, what a tour?
Ask Brad. He's the one who was talking about the tour.
Well, what I've been talking about is an outing to the RSC.
Oh, the resistance group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main thing I've been talking about, although I'm not really thinking of that now. And a tour of our chestnut trees. That's a 2-minute exercise.
Yeah, I've got the map that Alice helped me do last year for when we had our planting. And the other thing I've talked to Julie Lehman up at the conference center and a couple other people about places in Montreat that have repurposed chestnut where people can go look, and to put those on the map as well. I want to include the tree that's up on Eastminster, regardless of its health, so people know that it's there if they want to see one that's mature. I just got to get the map put together. I need to know when I need to have it ready. So we've got things underway to have a map for Montreat. But when I think tour, I'm thinking about the Resistance Screening Center. And
Okay.
Jamie was going to show us, to give us a quick tour of that and what all they did, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and I think that's still a good thing to try to do at some point. What she says about that facility is that it's a U.S. government facility, and working with them around their COVID rules gets a little tricky. She wasn't really sure what was going to be feasible with that. So as an alternative, if that's not working out well, as an alternative, she's saying, well, we could do a chestnut walk. She didn't really define that too much, but I guess it would be someplace in the Asheville area where we could walk around and find some chestnut trees. So,
Apparently Biltmore has a place too where they're growing chestnut trees.
okay, all right.
Well,
So, well, I don't want to dominate here, but I do, there's a couple of other pieces to put in the hopper, but you go ahead and.
well, I think the decision right now is to say, number one, our public advertisement of the September 4th is just save the date. There's no one that I've talked with that, I've talked to some people about what we're, be doing. But there still can be what Alice was saying, but I think we need to decide now, if we go right to the date of that day, do we just have a proclamation again? Do we have it here or go up to the field? Because they don't know that there was going to be a program. The public does know that there's been a,
We in the last thing that was sent out,
what did it say?
I know the conference center picked it up about talking about, it didn't list the exhibitors, but it did talk about Samantha's talk
Oh,
about how the
didn't
blight
read
has impacted the ecology of the area,
yeah.
what to do for a chestnut steward, and just to learn about why the chestnut is important in Montreat.
Yeah.
So we do need to decide. I'm going to need a motion here from somebody unless there's some more
I
discussion.
think we need to focus on that weekend right now and then proceed with talks with what else we're going to do to build relationships. But it doesn't appear that September 4th is a good way to build a relationship with them if they don't feel comfortable coming.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I would like to make a motion that we release that as a date of an indoor lecture. I have to think about this one here. Well, just move that we consider the celebration of Arbor Day on the 4th and to move toward an outdoor tour of where the chestnuts are going to be planted, or to be the ceremony of the planting as our celebration, with maps and literature that could be available for the public, and have a lot of that even online for them to read. You know, that's too much an emotion.
I,
So,
I would like to take a stab at an
Yeah,
amendment.
go ahead, please.
Amendment to your motion.
I know we're breaking protocol here, but yeah, I
Robert's,
need, I need a
Robert's,
clarification.
Robert's
of the
rule of
motion.
order, he's turning over in his
Yeah.
grave.
So there are so many things. Okay, the motion is, let's just let it be known that we're not doing an event on September 4th, and focus on October 9 as the alternative date, which we know that we may have to not do that either, but that would give us some time to get a better feel of things.
Is that what your motion
My
is?
motion is, yeah, cancel the 4th and focus on the 9th for now.
Is that what you were saying, Grace?
And I'll second yours.
I'm trying not to cackle into the night. Okay, so let me make sure I've got this straight, folks. This has been moved and seconded. We've Brad has moved to cancel September 4th and hold the event on October 9th. Depending on COVID. Speak up back there. Do you have any? No, he's not helping with this at all. That's right. There's a reason he's in the back of the room. Alice?
And I know there's no second required. Is there discussion on this?
Pardon me?
I said, I know there is no
I'm-
second.
I'm trying to make sure right now that I have the motion clearly stated. And then we can move to discussion.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so it has been moved and actually seconded, which we don't really need, as Alice pointed out, to cancel the September 4th event and to hold the event on October 9th. Okay. Okay. Move to cancel the September 4 celebration and hold event on October the 9th if possible. That it? Okay. Okay, and it was seconded, even like I said, we don't need it. Okay, now it's time for discussion. Anything?
Here are my refined points based on the conversation we've just had. We've worked so hard to do this. I'm thinking, we've worked very hard back starting March, April to get something set in the fall. I am very much in favor of canceling September 4th, and I am in favor now of not setting October for these reasons. With the mayor's proclamation, we have fulfilled obligations for our Arbor Day celebration that was read at our last town council meeting. Number two, with the Pfizer no longer in emergency use authorization, but fully supported by the FDA, we expect things will look better in the spring. At least it seems to me that's a reasonable conjecture. Who knows? Grace's point was perhaps moving this out to the spring with the native plant sale and just doing it along those lines. For the thought of doing anything, even trying to get people here in October for presentations or an event where there are no members of the public listening to the presentations, or very few members of the public, I think there will be lots of concerns still in gathering in October. So I guess my discussion points would be to thank you all for your insights, which have led to my further thinking. I think let's just celebrate that we've got little chestnuts growing here. I still think a walking tour instead of clipping ivy, a walking tour sometime of looking at the 4 chestnuts and the one up here on Eastminster would be a great thing to do at some point where we're all outside. Can be done anytime. And aim towards spring when we think the vaccines may have spread further. And we're not jeopardizing anyone's health, at least not jeopardizing to the degree that we are right now in September or October 9th. Thank you.
What's going to happen as we approach October is that we may be in the same situation as we're here right now for September. So the concern of more effort, and then the chestnut people will not be featured at that
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
So we want to have with that relationship building towards something that they would feel comfortable in the spring to do with us. We can still advertise what you're saying, but I maybe when in thinking about this, that perhaps we just not have October.
That's
Wait a minute, we can't do
We-
another motion right now.
No, but I'm just saying I would probably vote no for that, or amend the motion. I don't know how Robert rules go.
Well, first of all, we need to hear all the discussion
Yeah.
on the current motion. Then we'll take a vote on the current motion.
Right.
If someone wants to amend the current motion, then they need to present the amendment to the motion. Then we vote on the amendment. Then we vote on the amended motion. I think
Is that right, Alex? Is that,
Maggie, do you have anything to
Alex said
say?
that. Yeah. Thank you, Alex.
I was going to say, Maggie, do you have any discussion to throw in here now? No, the motion is
what was that, Alice?
I just asked Maggie if she had any discussion point to throw in here. Because what I understand is we have a motion to not do September 4th, to punt to October 9th. And I suggest we vote on that motion. And then if we need to introduce another motion after that vote, we do that instead of amending motions.
Okay, I think,
I call the question on the first motion.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we have been asked to vote on the motion to cancel September 4. Actually, cancel's not the word, I would say postpone the September 4 celebration. Well, right now, move to cancel September 4 and hold event on October 9 if possible.
Let's vote on that right now.
Okay,
Okay.
so all in favor, say aye. All opposed? No.
Aye.
Are
No.
you doing aye or nay? Okay.
I'm doing a no on the motion.
Okay. Okay. So, and I guess mine goes in as a yes because I didn't vote verbally. Okay, so the motion has been denied. Okay. Yeah, we need to make a decision on this, folks.
Yes. So we need a new motion.
And I move to cancel September 4th, Arbor Day celebration with celebration that we love trees and that there's much success here, and to keep open opportunities to work with the American Chestnut Foundation in all ways, including a different program in spring 2022, the possibility when we hope the vaccine will be more fully dispersed.
I'm not sure I got quite all of that, Alice.
And it was too long.
Cancel September 4.
And aim to spring. Cancel September 4th with with celebration of what we've already done and aim for spring with the native plant sale.
Okay, so are you saying we should still do something here outside? Or just cancel the whole thing?
Cancel the whole thing.
Okay, okay. Okay, so we have another motion to completely cancel September 4 in a fall celebration and work with the Chestnut Foundation for the native plant sale in the spring. Is that it? Is that it, Alice?
That's the essence. Thank you for condensing what I said.
Okay. It's more fun to see you walk to the mic. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have some discussion. I think it's a reasonable approach to the whole situation, but I want to remind everybody that, you know, my concern is to engage with Chestnut Foundation and to involve the community. This does not solve, you know, it's not real satisfactory for me to do it with just a vague date off in the future. So if that's the direction we're going, I think we should also recommit ourselves to active engagement in the community, active engagement with the Chestnut Foundation. And we need to think creatively about how to do that. So, my nervousness here is that it's very easy to say, well, we'll do that in the spring, and then the spring comes, lose track of it. And that's not getting any momentum going for the project.
I agree with what Brad is saying. It does not mean that we cannot go for a discussion of the planning of how to, our goal is to reconnect or to connect and to support the Chestnut Foundation. There can be many events that can be planned with our tree board here, but the fact that we need to get the big celebration of tables and all the events that we were trying to change and have that in the spring, I think they would recognize that that's a wonderful idea and let that be the peak of all the buildup we had before. And I think there can be ways we can look at dates of outdoor events, of talking with them and supporting them, because they still can feed in a lot of information through Zooms or seminars or webinars for us to be educated at home and for the community to be involved as well. Is that so? That's just my opinion, because we can go back to the table with what Brad's goal is and say we are going to get connected. We're not going to see them till spring.
And
Yes.
equally, I support Brad's aspiration and goal of engaging with the American Chestnut Foundation. And we need to just figure out how to do that in a different format. And you and I have spoken. I remember I called you and I said, why don't we just literally have a walking tour of where we go around from the rain garden where a chestnut is planted to the other 3 chestnuts planted up here to Eastminster to the big mature one. And we could do that every month. We could do that during our, as an agenda item for our tree board meetings every month for the next 3 months, because we've not been able to have this program right now. We still are celebrating the successes, and we can take a walk, to go see all of the trees or go see one of them if you don't want to walk or cannot walk. But just to keep putting it out there to our community that we are working with the American Chestnut Foundation and celebrating the 4 little trees that are here and the 8 more that are going to go in the ground, and using every means we have, the Montreat Minute, And as Grace says, just, and of course, the conference center's community announcements. There are lots of ways to stay involved and to keep momentum and feature the American Chestnut Foundation and our partnership there, which is what Brad's goal is, without expending lots of energy on an event that people will not be comfortable coming to.
Okay, any other? Yeah, Maggie will be right back.
I think I agree with what everybody's saying here today, as far as, just being in the unknown. And, but I agree with Brad 100%. I think we don't need to lose sight of the Chestnut Foundation between now and spring. And I think there's probably plenty of stuff we can do, maybe via Zoom or having them come out and be in open area. And it was neat. I was just a little tidbit. I was working this past week up by one of the well houses near our shop, and there was a family that had walked through and asked me about the chestnuts that we had here. And I explained to them where they were on campus and up near the college and down by town hall and across from the gate. And they were just really enthused about the fact that we were doing that. And I think it is very important that we continue, with the Chestnut Foundation and just letting them know we haven't, we're not dropping the ball, and we're very eager to work with them.
And I think they know we're concerned about their concerns. So, yeah,
I
would-
like the idea of the fact that you can have, even if it's our tree board meeting time, to have let's just walk the walk and do our tour then too, and invite the public and to have a chestnut, a walking with the chestnuts every
Yep.
month.
Yep.
And that's what Alice was referred to. And it can be with the maps, and that's where we can focus with the maps. We can get information. Once you have a pamphlet with a map, you can have things that the Chestnut Foundation could give us for other knowledge or whatever from Brad's perspective. But I think of walking with the chestnuts.
And Grace, to add to that, and somebody will put up his or her iPhone, and film it so that then you can demonstrate to the American Chestnut Foundation that we are full partners. We're very excited about this. We are caring for our trees, and we're learning where they are and learning how they're growing. I think there's so many ways to document what our interest is and what our commitment is that takes care of people, which means being outside.
Is there a monetary contribution we could make from the tree board or the town to the foundation?
Well, we approved because the town officially becoming a member of the Chestnut Foundation. Hopefully that has gone in because they're in the, okay, shall I talk to you after the meeting as to what we have to do? Okay. Yeah. So we budgeted it and we voted last month to go ahead and get that payment made and become official members. Okay, I'm going to start limiting the comments here so we can keep moving. Did you have something else, Brad?
I think there's some things that we need to talk about. There are other places on the agenda that
Yeah.
some of it could be said, so we're still considering. So
Right.
and I think we should deal with that and then move on.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and call the vote. It has been moved that we cancel September 4th, aim for a large celebration in spring. I may have been adding words. I'm having to write it. I won't remember it when I get home. for in spring with the native plant sale and continue keeping open communication with the Chestnut Foundation. Did I get it? Afraid I write sometimes. Okay. Okay, so it has been moved. We don't need a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion has passed. So we will cancel September 4 celebrations. And it sounds like from the discussion we had, we will plan little mini events throughout the fall, whether it's tours, see if we can connect with the foundation to see if they want to do a Zoom talk. Let's do something around planting more trees. Did you have something, Alex?
Yes, I was
No,
going
just-
to request that somebody from the tree board help write a cancellation notice for the Montreat Minute. So we can put that out in the Montreat Minute and in the MRA community announcements.
Okay, yeah, Grace and I'll get one of those out and make sure that it gets published both. We'll also make sure I'll contact Chestnut Foundation. I'll contact Ezra down at the Black Mountain News and let the urban and community forestry people know what we're doing. And we'll just make sure that and put announcements on the bulletin boards that we've canceled and to watch for we'll start advertising native plant sale.
And may I just say one thing? Whatever communication there is, I hope will be in the tone and from the stance of celebration and forward movement, not defeat. We would do this were it not for COVID, but we have so many things to celebrate, in my view, and we need to focus on that and move forward. And so I hope that our attitude is not one of cowering, but of saying, let's get out and look at these trees.
Yeah, and I think, I've actually been sort of plotting in the back of my brain just in case. I mean, we'll put on there that due to COVID concerns and the rise in the rates, that we are going to cancel the celebration and to watch for smaller events in the fall and continue celebrating this fall with the American Chestnut Foundation. So at this point, that's, I think, what we need to do. So, okay. Okay. Something else, Brad? I would like to go ahead with a tour of the resistant screening and see if we can do things of that nature that don't require the entire community where we know the COVID protocols in place with the government and this sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. Jamie had told me the other day that she's at the RSC, they call it resistance screening. I'm not sure what the C is. But she's actually there every Friday.
Okay.
And she's actively involved in working with the trees and things. So we might think in terms of having a group go there someday when she's going to be there anyway.
Okay.
And I think that would be a good thing to consider.
But we need to move on. I didn't realize quite how late it was, but that was a very important thing that we needed to address. Pardon me?
I think we did, yeah.
We voted, yeah. Okay. The next thing I have under new business is to set a date for the Ivy League. I was looking at September the 14th. For this, we need input from our Public Works Department. Okay. So we'll get advertised, I'll get signage out for September the 14th for the Ivy League. And if anybody If you know of anyone who is happy to take over organizing and setting dates for the Ivy League, let me know. I'll be happy to share that responsibility. Okay, the next item under new business, calling a special meeting for next Tuesday, needs to come off because we just decided we're not doing the 4th. Okay, old business. The first thing I have is our memorial tree policy. Do we have anything more on that? Put down, we'll discuss it later. Okay, Chestnut Tour and Arbor Day event, I think we've hashed pretty well. But so I need everybody to put on your thinking caps, see how we can use components of what we were going to do on September the 4th to create a little mini event where we can invite the public and see how the Chestnut people, if they want to participate in something or help, not sponsor, to work with us on making some of those events happen. And I'll copy both Brad and Grace on emails to the Chestnut folks. And I'll continue to work on displays. That can be a part too of what we're going to do.
So I'm just going to inject this. I hope it's not too much off base. Other things to be thinking about here, in addition to what we've already discussed. You mentioned the planting of trees.
Yes.
That could be worked in a way that could engage. It would definitely, I think, ideally involve Chestnut Foundation people. And it could be worked to involve at least some community people to help plant trees or something like that. I've really been thinking about, in the bigger picture, we really need to find a way to engage with minimally Jason, but the Montreat conference, MRA, and really talk to Richard Bowes about how the conference center might participate in this whole project on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
It might complicate things a little bit since it's a separate entity in some ways, but I think it could be worked out. So let's see, there's that. Yeah, I mean, kind of a question for Daniel is, if we're going to be planting trees, we need to find places to plant them.
Mhm.
And I think soil testing is very much wanting to get the regional science person from the Chestnut Foundation involved. That's Jan Van Cleef.
I cannot hear.
I'm saying that I'd like to get Jamie Van Cleef, the American Chestnut Foundation regional science person, involved. I think that she's a person who can help us in doing the process in terms of site selection. And so I'd really like to involve her and find a way to connect with the public works folks over here. Looking at Daniel because he's hit. Another thing that was said to me last week, I think it's Jamie that said it, they're looking for orchard sites, where you find a good site and to plant a number of trees. And she also talked about how a lot of the trees that they've got planted throughout the whole region are up at altitude, like 4,000 feet or so. So it's something just for us to take note of and think about as we're doing it. So we're thinking about trees that are in accessible to the public and all, and we don't all have them around. But we also, in terms of the bigger project, may also need to be thinking about are there more places that are a little harder to get to that would help serve the Chestnut Foundation purposes. So I'll just leave it at that, but I think.
Yeah, I think that'll be discussion down the road with Jamie. She needs to come out and see what the lay of the land is, because I know there's some green spaces and open spaces in town that I'm pretty sure no one's going to be willing to put a chestnut orchard. But we're going to be limited in being able to provide space for an orchard, but I'm not saying we can't. But we need to be aware, and we just need to work with them. I want her to help us. I think that aspect of what we were going to do this fall definitely needs to go forward. And I think we can make that, we can open that up to people helping to get the trees in the ground. Possibly we can work with her about coming and just telling us what we need to watch for, what we need to do, give us some preliminary stuff on being chestnut stewards. These things go in the ground. We have to keep track of them.
So what is this relationship if we have more field? That's the conference center. The land that is in Montreat is owned by mostly the conference center
Yeah,
and the environmental areas of the higher elevations and properties. So we have to have that relationship and the college.
yeah. And
Right.
I think we need to remember, not all the trees we're going to put in need to be accessible for the public to go take a look. That's what we need to do, is just work with Jason, work with the college, get some trees planted. Are we off the air? Yeah, but, and I think we need to work forward that the way it's going to best suit Montreat. And I think we just need to keep that in mind. We don't have to decide exactly how that's going to happen today. We can work outside the meeting with our public works people and with the rangers and with the maintenance people for the conference center and the college to get all of that set up. Is there anything else?
There's a whole bunch of moving parts on this. I just
Yeah.
wanted to get it said so that we can all have
Yeah.
have these things in mind. So
Okay. Is there any?
Excuse me, Ed,
Hate to cut off.
my battery is going to run out. And so when I disappear, I'm sorry, please pardon me. But I will be leaving shortly because my battery's dead.
Well, I want to, does anyone have anything else they need to say? Because we're at our hour here.
I'm good.
Okay, and if not, our next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, September the 28th at 9:30 here in the town hall. Any changes people will know about. And if there's nothing else, I am happy to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you all. Tricky subject, but I think we're in a good place, and I'll be happy to get up with some folks and let them know what's going on. And that way we don't have to worry about possibly having to postpone October as well.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Alice.
Bye, thank you.